Hi, this is Palash Chakraborty, assistant teacher, Iskar High School and College. Welcome to my class. This class is for class 11, subject English first paper, unit 2, lesson 1. So, today's topic, some of the greatest scientific achievements of the last 50 years. So let's go through the text. Okay, we human beings tend to forget how far we have come as a species in a relatively short period of time. It was only in the 1870s when we had the first house that was lighted with electricity. Cars just started to become available 100 years ago. Televisions didn't become widely available until after World War II. Perhaps just as extraordinary is how we tend to simply adapt to these incredible changes, not realizing how completely our world has been altered in a short span of time. With that in mind, it is worth looking back at some of the amazing scientific advances we have made in the last few decades. So let's see some scientific advances. So the first, the artificial heart. Okay, so there is nothing that piques the interest of a human being quite as much as the prospect of living a longer life. Implanting a person with an artificial heart in 1982 was an extraordinary step towards increasing the human lifespan. The XII artificial heart was designed by Robert Jarvik. Though the patient survived only 112 days, it was a huge step towards the development of heart transplant surgery. One day, more advanced versions of artificial organs will likely allow us to live much longer and more productive lives. Okay. So now it's cell phones. Phones have been around since the late 80s, but cell phones made their appearance only in the 1990s. Today, by some estimates, more than 100 million people in Bangladesh and more than 4.6 billion people worldwide have mobile phones. Anything that is useful and spreads so fast has to be considered one of the greatest inventions of all time. Just 2 decades ago, in Bangladesh, even landlines were difficult to obtain, let alone mobile phones. Today, people from social strata use cell phones, from street vendors to business executives in luxury cars, and from villagers to urbanites. Okay, so this is the personal computer. Today, we take for granted that we have one machine that allows us to access the internet, do word processing, use a calculator, watch TV, play games, and do a host of other things. But the personal computer became available to consumers in 1974. things really took off when Microsoft Windows was introduced in 1985, and it's good that it was, since without the prevalence of personal computers, the internet wouldn't have had nearly as big an impact as it has ever since. Okay, so next we will find the first communication satellite. Let's go. People on Earth may take for granted today's high-tech world of cell phones, GPS, and the satellites high above the planet that make instant communication possible. But it all began 60 years ago with one giant space balloon. 10th July 1962 marked the birth of satellite communications. On this day, the Telstar satellite commenced its journey into space and became the first ever active communications satellite. Today, we use satellites for GPS, TV, radio, weather tracking, military surveillance, space exploration, and global communications, among other things. So, it's first communication satellite. Then we will go for the moon landing. Okay, so for thousands of years, human beings had looked to the heavens and dreamed of walking on the moon. In 1969, as a part of Apollo 11 mission, Neil Armstrong became the first person to accomplish that dream, followed only minutes later by Buzz Aldrin. Their accomplishment gave people around the world the hope of future space exploration. In fact, it was a feat that was so fantastic that there are still conspiracy theorists who insist it could not be possible. Putting a man on the moon is perhaps man's most inspiring accomplishment. Okay, so what next? So it is the internet or World Wide Web. Okay, so the ARPANET, the first internet, was invented in 1969, and the public only had access to the World Wide Web starting in 1993. Just few years later, today, the web has revolutionized the dimension of information, created a new multi-trillion-dollar economic phenomenon, played a role in revolutions, and has interconnected much of the globe. It has also made it possible for people all over the planet to reach out and touch someone. Okay, so next we will go for what? Next we will go for the microchip. A microchip is set of electronic circuits on one small plate of semiconductor material, normally silicon. Microchips are used in virtually all electronic equipments today and have revolutionized the world of electronics. The forerunner to the microchip was invented back in 1959, but it didn't really start to take up until the 1980s. Since then, incredible advances in microchip have made it possible for them to be cheaply and efficiently used for calculators, personal computers, face identification, automatic teller machine, satellites, pacemaker, cell phones, and microwave ovens, among many other products. So this is all about the text. So now it's time to read some vocabulary of this text. So let's go some vocabulary. Urban. Okay, so the meaning, someone who lives in a city. Pick, the meaning, feeling of anger. Implant, to put an organ or device into the body in a medical operation. Transplant, to move something or to be moved. Orbit, the path through which objects in space move around the planet. Brace, something that is used to support or connect things. Spam, unwanted email. Imaging, the process of producing an exact picture of something. Spin-off, a program or other show involving characters from a previous program. Okay, so this is all about the lecture today. So it's time to finish the lecture. Okay, so thank you for watching my video. Stay safe and be blessed.